Shuji is a high schooler who's on the verge of missing out on teen love. Luckily for him, his classmate, Chisei, a strong-willed klutz short as the bus she rode in on, has already confessed her undying love for him. The two have only recently started dating, but they're already on the verge of breaking up. Shuji may be athletic, but the guy is incredibly awkward, especially when there's romance involved. And while Chisei might be cute, she's also clueless about relationships. Their mutual friend is trying her best to keep the flame from dying out, but nothing she does seems to help. When she recommended Chisei give Shuji a diary to better express himself, he could only express his desire to end this thing once and for all. He takes her to a nice place up in the mountains to let her see a beautiful view before he breaks things off. But just as he's doing so, Chisei breaks down and tells him she's fed up with this too. She's tried everything she can think of, read all the right romance manga, asked all her friends for advice, and nothing has worked. And to top it all off, she never even liked Shuji that much to begin with. At best, she had a little crush on the guy. But the main reason she asked him out was just to prove to herself that she could. That she didn't have to be the timid loser chick for the rest of her life. But she never expected Shuji to actually say yes, and now, here they are, breaking up before anything's even happened. Chisei asked Shuji why he even bothered to say yes to begin with. And he says it's because he was asked out by a cute girl, and well, who wouldn't say yes in that situation? But as Shuji explains this, he refers to himself with Boku instead of his typical ore. This means Shuji isn't the rough and tough track team star Chisei believed him to be, but rather a sensitive young man. She finds this hilarious, and the two have a good laugh and decide to give this relationship one more go. Then World War III starts. Japan only has one hope for winning this war, and it's she, the ultimate weapon. They turn Chisei into a cyborg. Yeah, it's that kind of show. Saikano is an unconventional romance anime from 2002, based on a manga from 1999 that also got a live-action film in 2005. All that is to say, it was kind of a big deal once upon a time, but nowadays, no one really cares about it. And that probably goes double for the studio behind the anime. Don't worry, Gonzo, I haven't forgotten about you. Also, I said the name was Saikano, but it's not really true, that's more of an abbreviation. Saishu Heki Kanajo, that's the real name. Translates roughly to Ultimate Weapon Girlfriend, which is a little too silly for the subject matter, so the localizers changed it to She the Ultimate Weapon. That does sound pretty cool, but I kinda prefer the original subtag, The Last Love Song on This Little Planet. Now that is a title that fits the show perfectly, but it's a little long, so I'm gonna be sticking with Saikano. Saikano is a tragic anime. I did not clickbait that spoiler of a title. The finale of this show is the world ending and everyone dying. Everyone except Shuji, sort of. It's a very gloomy ordeal packed with both senseless death and destruction and the typical romance obstacles found in all your favorite slop. You know, relationship drama, love triangles, that kind of thing. Although I will give credit where credit is due. Unlike so many other romance anime out there, which take their sweet time getting to the good stuff, Saikano moves very quickly. The first kiss happens halfway into episode 1, and it doesn't take too much longer before they go even further beyond. Now, some of the scenes are a little weird, but for the most part, I actually think the relationship between Chisei and Shuji gets presented in a mature way. There's a lot of emotion on screen whenever the two of them get to talking about serious things. Chisei is basically a superhero with self-regeneration, the ability to fly, and she can shoot lasers and missiles and stuff. She gets to protect people like a hero, but at the end of the day, she's still a weapon. The ultimate one, if the title didn't clue you in already. She may have finally become the strong, capable woman she always wanted to be, but it comes at the cost of her old personality and morality. Every day that passes, she loses a little more of her humanity. She may sometimes appear like a cute ditzy girl, but she'll turn into a cold-blooded killer whenever she senses danger. Not by choice, but by design. What good is a gun if it can't kill? Empathy gets in the way of efficiency, and she is the ultimate weapon. The visual style of the show reflects her schizophrenic character. It's very cutesy if you couldn't tell from all the rosacea, but that doesn't mean it's never brutal. When the bombs start dropping, the bodies do too. Another thing you may notice about the visuals is that aspect ratio. It's a widescreen version of 4:3, so if you watch this thing on any modern screen, you will be subjected to the void. I have seen some unofficial upscales that fill up the whole screen and bump up the quality from 360 to 1080, but to be honest, I don't really mind the letterboxing. It reminds me of Better Man, and, I like Better Man. Now, one thing I need to make clear is that this is not Legend of the Galactic Heroes. It's only 13 episodes, and I don't believe they ever properly establish who the factions even are. Obviously, you have the Japanese Defense Force fighting off the invaders, but who are the invaders? Americans, maybe? I mean, one was speaking English in an episode, but now, why would these United States invade the land of the rising sun? No idea, and the show never touches it. It also never touches how the Japanese military managed to make a super sci-fi cyborg weapon that can level entire cities in a second, or why they decided to recruit a high school girl to be that weapon. You want answers to those questions, and you gotta watch the OVA. It's not a sequel or a prequel, but a sidequel that covers some of the same events, but through the eyes of Chisei's predecessor/prototype. And while it does give more context to what's going on in the main series, it doesn't really fix every narrative issue. Now, one thing you need to understand about Saikano is that it doesn't make a lot of sense. Surprising, I know. The show about a cyborg high school girl fighting in a war to end all wars isn't very logical. It's a show driven mostly by emotion. The goal was to have you crying every episode because another city got destroyed, or another character died, or someone has a mental breakdown, or Shuji and Chisei break up for a bit. This may be a problem for a great many of you, because to truly enjoy what's on screen, you basically have to turn your brain off and accept everything that's shown to you. Like how our main characters conveniently meet each half of the same couple, or how other characters teleport to locations they shouldn't know about, or how Chisei is Japan's greatest weapon and is supposed to be a secret, but the military barely tries to keep it that way. She still goes to school and she's transforming in public pretty often. Also, half the time she just stays in her school uniform while on active duty. Not to mention, everyone in her town learns of an alleged guardian deity named Chisei, but can't seem to connect the dots. Also, the tech scaling in the show is something else. It starts out with B-52s and fighter jets, but then by the end, it looks like an alien invasion. Don't ask me how we got here because that's not the show. Instead, just focus on this guy who's painfully dying while fighting a war he can't win, away from the wife he'll never see again. Do you feel how depressing that is? That's the reason you're here. The whole thing is a highly manufactured series of unfortunate events orchestrated to min-max the big sad, because this show belongs to the Seikaike genre. A genre which revolves around the close relationship between usually two people, which will determine the outcome of the world. Think Neon Genesis Evangelion, or Boku no, or, Attack on Titan? Does Attack on Titan count? It doesn't matter. The important thing, though, is that it's all character-centric. The rules of nature and society are bent, if not broken, so that our main leads can directly determine the fate of the world. In the case of Saikano, though, it's a little bit different, since Chisei and Shuji don't have much say in whether the world lives on or gets destroyed. No matter how strong Chisei becomes, everyone will die, be they Japanese or otherwise. She actually realizes at one point that she's killed so many people on the other side that they now have nothing to go back to, so they're just gonna take the whole world down with them. Chisei's sole goal then becomes protecting her small hometown, but all her victories are meaningless in a war like this. Meanwhile, she's wrecked with guilt for all the people she's killed, and for how the only thing she can think about is her boyfriend, the man she truly loves, even though she believes he must be secretly disgusted with the monster she's become. Shuji does provide her with comfort, both emotionally and physically, but at the same time, he's not exactly an upstanding guy. While Chisei's struggling to hold on to her humanity, Shuji is struggling to stay faithful. Not to mention, he'll often feed his girlfriend some self-serving advice or unintentionally make things harder for her when he tries to help. He might just be a bad guy, but I don't actually think that makes him a bad character. I mean, he's supposed to be an awkward, dumb teenager full of raging hormones and feelings of inadequacy, and that is exactly what we see. It's one of the reasons his relationship with Chisei feels more real than many others that I've seen. But there are a few, questionable things regarding the romance in this show. For instance, Chisei is not Shuji's first lover. He actually had a casual fling with an older woman, his teacher, when he was 13.
Nice. I heard you's a pedophile.
Baba Booey.
I heard you like little boys and girls.
Bazinga!
And then he meets up with her again a few years later, and she's married, but feeling real lonely because her soldier husband just hasn't been home in months. Now, I'm not gonna deny she is really hot.
私まで赤くなっちゃうっしょや。
Now I'm gonna. It's
But I am not going to sympathize with a PDF adulteress, especially because this revelation seems to explain why Shuji's so awkward with romance. I mean, I feel like she really did some serious emotional damage to the kid, but the show just glosses right over that. And then it tries to do the same thing with Chisei and a soldier who happens to be the husband of this temptress teacher. But the guy calls it off at the last minute. I don't think the show needed any of this stuff. Like I said earlier, I thought the romance between Chisei and Shuji was already pretty decent. But as you can probably tell by now, there are times where it focuses a little too much on sex instead of developing their relationship and showcasing their chemistry together and, you know, all that gay stuff. That's one of the reasons I can only describe Saikano as a mixed bag, but maybe one with a few more M&Ms than raisins. It's incredibly sappy and lacks any sense of world building, but it did make me feel something in my hollowed heart of hearts. Is it for everyone? Probably not, but it's definitely something you should check out after you've disassociated yourself from the regularness of life by melancholy maxing to the sad boy Midwestern emo Spotify playlist. And until next time, Ave Maria, Deus Volt, and a big thank you to all the cultured.